Hello and welcome to the Love Her podcast. My name is Laura. I am your host, and I am so excited to start this journey with you. This podcast is for the high achieving woman, the woman who has accomplished goal after goal, the woman who knows her potential, who knows her worth, who knows she is meant to make a bigger impact. And yet, she is a woman who feels stuck. This podcast is for the woman who is not only ready to own her success, but is ready to reach even higher. You are that woman. Let's rediscover what it means to be her. Hello, ladies, and welcome back to another episode of the Love Her podcast. I am so grateful to you for listening, and I am excited to share today's episode with you. Today, we are going to be discussing some of the modalities and tools I have used over the past 4 years to step into such a higher version of me. For the last few episodes, we've talked about intuition and connecting to your true self. And as I have previously shared with you, when I started my journey of self-discovery 4 years ago, I could not have been more disconnected from my intuition and from my true self. So, how did I go from feeling completely lost, completely defeated, and so burned out to the woman that I am today? A woman who had the courage to quit her career and start over. A woman who had worked in healthcare for 15 years and had zero business background and honestly had no idea on how or even where to start in getting my own business off the ground. To now being a successful life coach, speaker, HypnoBreathwork facilitator, and claiming my title as an entrepreneur with pride. A woman who went from wishing for a better life to one that now takes action every day towards creating it. In just 4 years, I went from being so disconnected that I didn't even feel comfortable in my own body to becoming a woman who knows her worth and believes in her unlimited potential. In short, I did the work to become her, the higher version of me. And I am now a woman who has the honor of guiding other women to step into their higher self through coaching and HypnoBreathwork and this podcast. And I am so grateful for this journey and to now have the opportunity to share my experience with you and to hopefully guide you to discover her too and realize the power you have to become her and to create the life you are meant for. And I want to point out first that this transformation has not been about changing who I am. It has been about coming back home to who I truly am, who I've always been. Because doing this work is not about changing who you are. It's about remembering who you are. And that brings me to today's topic, doing the work. That is a very common phrase in the self-development world. Everyone has their own definition of what it means to do the work. For me, it's about getting quiet, going within, and discovering your own answers. It's about reconnecting with your true self and then having the courage to live as her. And there are so many different modalities and tools for you to try and to experience to get yourself closer to your true self. Much of this work is about recognizing subconscious blocks and limiting beliefs that have been holding you back, and then doing the work to overcome these blocks and create new beliefs, ones that actually feel true to you and align with your values and your goals. I have tried quite a few different tools and modalities in the past 4 years. When I was creating this episode, it was actually a little surprising for me to write them down and realize just how much I've done, how many things I've experienced. Let me tell you, I've been busy. And honestly, they have all helped move me forward. Some more than others, some I've only tried once, others I've continued on a daily basis. And that's one of the amazing things about this work. You get to try new things and decide if they are right for you. You get to focus on the modalities and tools that speak to your soul and move you forward. So I comprised a list of everything I've experienced in the last 4 years, and I know I'm forgetting some, but here is my list. Listening to self-development and spiritual podcasts, reading self-development books, journaling, meditation, yoga, Reiki, hypnosis, intuitive readings, neuro linguistic programming, or NLP for short, internal family systems, visioning, affirmations, sound healing, EFT tapping, energy healing, cold plunges, online group programs, one on one coaching, a private one on one intensive coaching weekend, somatic breathwork, and last but definitely not least, HypnoBreathwork. Okay, I've been busy and I want to go a little deeper on some of these, explain them a little more, and give you examples of how they have helped me to reconnect with my true self. The first big leap I took was hiring my first life coach, and it hands down changed my life. My first coach was an emotional intelligence coach. Her name is Macy Renee, and she is amazing. Shout out to Macy if you are listening. Macy also has a podcast called This Is Not Your Practice Life. And listening to her podcast was my very first step on my self development, self discovery journey. On her podcast, Macy explained that life coaching is often compared to therapy, but it is actually very different. In short, she explained that in therapy, you tend to focus on your past and try to understand it better to be able to understand yourself better. Life coaching, however, focuses on your present and your future. Although it involves discovering subconscious blocks and limiting beliefs that were formed in your past, it mainly focuses on what to do after you've identified them. It's about the actions you're going to take now that you have the awareness. What steps are you going to take right now to create the life you desire? I resonated so much with what she said because I had done therapy as well. And it was such an enlightening and overall amazing experience for me, one that I am so grateful for. However, after a while, I had gotten to the point where I felt like I understood my past and my issues pretty well, and I was getting tired of talking about them. I just wanted to move on. And as I continued to listen to Macy's podcast, I decided this was my next step to start moving forward. I was going to hire her as my life coach. And even though I had made this decision, I hadn't yet learned the importance of taking action. And it took me a few months to get the courage to schedule a discovery call with her. And I remember being so nervous before I got on that call because even though a simple phone call might seem like a little thing, this was my first big leap towards becoming her, the higher version of me. And I will never forget that first coaching call. Within the first few minutes, we discussed my unhappiness, and I admitted that I did not feel fulfilled. And I desperately wanted to feel passion and purpose and to discover my true calling. She asked me what I wanted to do, if I had any ideas as to what my true calling was, and I was afraid to admit it. I wanted to be a life coach. At that point, life coaching was still a fairly new concept for me, and it felt silly to think at 39 years old I could step into that role. However, as she pressed me further, I finally said it out loud, and I'll never forget her response. She said, I was hoping you'd say that. From the minute we got on this call, I knew you have the energy to be a life coach. And that moment was life changing for me. Not only had I admitted to her and declared to the universe that I wanted to follow this new path, but I also had someone tell me they believed in me. It was in that moment that the thought of starting a new career and following my passion changed from a fantasy to a reality. In that moment, I finally gave myself permission to live a bigger life, to dream bigger, to believe that I actually was meant for more, and to finally have an idea of what that meant. And I gave myself permission to stop waiting and to start taking action towards it. That was definitely one of the biggest moments I've experienced in coaching, and there have been so many others since. A coach is someone who sees your potential, often even more than you do. And they are someone who believes in you, supports you, and challenges you to reach that potential. They keep you accountable and keep you moving forward. I have had numerous coaches over the past few years, and I've also taken breaks from coaching. I've gone through seasons of feeling so motivated, so ready to go deep and do the work and go all in on a coaching container. And then times where I just felt the need to pause and reflect and take a break. And what I have noticed is that when I have a coach guiding me, pushing me, and reminding me of my potential, my growth is exponential. Because no matter how much work you've done, no matter how much growth you've had, your subconscious mind and your ego will still be there trying to hold you back. And it's huge when you have a coach who can challenge you to see past those limiting beliefs and continue moving forward. With my own clients, I always like to tell them that even when a coaching container is done, their growth will continue. What they have learned about themselves and how their perspectives and mindset has shifted will stay with them. When you become a higher version of you, you start showing up better in your life. Once you see, you can't unsee. Once you realize your potential and what's possible for you, you will continue to strive for better. Some of my clients work with me for one coaching container, others continue working with me much longer than they had anticipated, or they come back months later or a year later with new, bigger goals. As I already said, I myself have had multiple coaches. I actually have two right now, one helping me with my podcast and one helping me with my business. After working in healthcare for 15 years, learning the ways of the business world has been a journey for me. And hiring a business coach was a big investment. It was also one of the best decisions I made. And my podcast producer, Ruby, shout out to you, girl, because I would not be here right now sharing my words if not for her guiding me, challenging me, and overall believing that my voice matters. It truly is amazing what you are capable of when you have someone who supports you, who challenges you and calls you on your BS, who will hold you accountable, and overall, someone who believes in you. One of my favorite moments in life coaching is when my clients fully step into their own belief and start realizing their potential. Okay, so enough about life coaching. Let's move on now because another experience that has truly been life changing for me has been attending women's retreats. I have attended two retreats, my first one in Austin, Texas, 2.5 years ago, and one deep in the jungles of Costa Rica just a few months ago. They were each 5 days, and wow, just wow. Talk about condensing time and expediting your growth. And I'm going to be honest with you, it's hard to put into words just how much growth you can have in such a short amount of time. There's something so powerful and magical when you are in a space for 5 days with like minded women who are committed to becoming better. It is a space where you feel accepted and not just the parts of you that society says is okay, but all of you. It is a space where you are allowed to be vulnerable and share your true self, the good, the bad, the fear, your hopes, your dreams. It is a space that allows you to feel free. And that feeling of freedom and acceptance, I believe, is what allows you to go so much deeper and start to understand yourself at such a deeper level. And when you're having such intense experiences and growth together, you can't help but form bonds with these women. I have met some of my absolute favorite women who are now my soul sisters at these retreats. We keep each other accountable, we support each other, and more than anything, we believe in each other. I can't tell you how many times in my lowest moments I have received a message from one of these women just telling me how much they believe in me or how much I inspire them. And it's the very thing I needed to keep moving forward. They say that if you want to grow and reach higher, put yourself in a room full of people who are already ahead of you, people you want to be like, people you want to learn from. Simply put yourself in that energy. Attending a retreat will put you in that energy. With both of these retreats, I learned something from each of the women I met. I was so inspired. And after 5 days, I walked out a much higher version of me. And while at the retreat in Austin, I had the opportunity of experiencing something that has changed my life, and that is HypnoBreathwork. Through HypnoBreathwork, I have had some of the most spiritual experiences of my life. I have brought forward so many memories and subconscious limiting beliefs, and I have been able to connect with my intuition. It has given me the ability to start really listening to my intuition and to follow it. In short, it has been one of the most important modalities in connecting back to my true self. I became certified in HypnoBreathwork last year, and it is something I incorporate into my daily life. I believe that HypnoBreathwork is the reason why I am now able to take those big leaps without the fear or indecision. I am able to move myself forward with a sense of peace and calm and inner knowing that I'm on the right path because I am taking actions guided by my intuition, my deep inner knowing, and that always feels right. So, I want to give you some insight into why I fell in love with breathwork. And if breathwork or hypnobreathwork are new terms for you, don't worry. In the next two episodes, we will take a much deeper look at the power of your breath and what breathwork is. But for now, just know that it is a practice that allows you to access your subconscious mind where we hold our deep rooted beliefs and our memories that essentially shape who we are and the decisions we make each day. It's basically running the show, even though we are unaware of it. Hence the name subconscious. So, 2.5 years ago, when I was at the first retreat in Austin, Texas, we did a session of breath work. It was only my second time experiencing breath work, and I was nervous, but mostly excited. And as we started and the music got more intense, I started to get uncomfortable, like really uncomfortable. I couldn't hold still. And breathwork is not a stillness practice. You are encouraged to move your body and move energy. So as I laid there, writhing in discomfort, shaking my arms and legs, it became unbearable. Every fiber of my being wanted so badly to jump up and run out of the room and escape my discomfort. But I continued. I stayed with the breathing pattern, I followed the facilitator's cues, and just when my discomfort became so excruciating that I thought I was going to burst, something wild happened. Suddenly, I saw a bright white light and it enveloped me, and I felt this immense sense of calm and peace wash over me. And as I continued to breathe, I suddenly had this knowing that my black lab, my Murph man, was beside me. Murphy was our dog who had passed away just a couple of months before this retreat. And it might seem silly to some that during one of my most spiritual moments, it was a dog that came to me. But if you know me, you know I have always been obsessed with dogs and that he was my first baby. And so losing him was one of the hardest experiences of my life. While I was going through years of infertility, he was my one constant. He was my source of unconditional love when I felt so broken, so unlovable. He was always there, giving me kisses and loving me and just letting me know that even though my body was failing me, I was still worthy of love. He kept me going. He was my rock. And now here he was in this moment. And I felt him lay his head on my shoulder. And almost at that exact moment, one of the facilitators placed her hand on that shoulder. And I felt him. His presence and his loving energy was so strong. And I heard his words so clearly. He said, "Laura, you are so loved. I am not the only one who loved you in that way. You have so many people in your life that love you unconditionally. You just have to open your eyes and open your heart to receive it." It was one of the most beautiful messages I've ever received from one of the most beautiful souls I've had the privilege of loving. And in that moment, I felt so much gratitude for all the love in my life. And for the first time in a very long time, I felt worthy of receiving it. And I received another message during that breathwork session. This message from my intuition. And it was this: that my voice is powerful and that it's meant to be heard and that I'm meant to show other women the way to a more fulfilling life. I have continued to believe in this message. It hasn't always been easy. In fact, I have had a lot of hard moments, a lot of obstacles, and a lot of self doubt between today and that moment 2.5 years ago. And here I am, still on this path, committed to using my voice and hopefully inspiring amazing women like you with my words. So, these are just a few examples of some of my biggest moments on my journey. And I realize that hiring a life coach or attending a women's retreat might feel like really big leaps for you right now. And that is okay. We are all on our own path, and we all get to choose what action feels right for us at the present moment. And when you take small steps each day, that is how you arrive at the moment where you are ready to take the big leap. You are already listening to this podcast. You've already taken a step, and I am celebrating you so big for taking that step. That was my first step. And if you are ready to take another small step today, I would highly recommend journaling. It is proven that when you take the time to write down your thoughts, you activate different parts of your brain. In episode 2, we talked about how stress can activate your sympathetic nervous system or your fight or flight response. And in today's world, with all the constant stimuli, we get stuck in that state of anxiety. And journaling can actually calm your amygdala, the part of your brain that is a fight or flight center. And it can activate the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for reasoning and emotional control. You can think about it this way: when emotions are high, intelligence is low. We often say things in the heat of the moment that we wish we could take back. We aren't thinking clearly. Journaling helps us to calm our mind, to calm our emotions, and think better and go deeper. There are many ways to journal. There are no set rules. You can simply free write and just let your thoughts flow out of you. I like to do this when I'm feeling really frustrated and the thoughts in my head feel jumbled or overwhelming. I usually set a timer for 10 or 20 minutes and just let myself go. Or you can use journal prompts. If you have a goal of what you want to discover about yourself or something you want to go deeper on, this is a great way to challenge yourself. Ladies, if you are listening to this podcast, I am guessing you are ready to start doing this work. And if you want to start going deeper, to start connecting with her again, I created a free short workbook with journal prompts to help you get you started. You can click on the link in the show notes to download the workbook. It is a beautiful way to start reconnecting with your true self. It is my gift to you to say thank you and to celebrate you for being here and listening, and most importantly, for saying yes to yourself. I will admit this work is not always easy. It's often confronting. It requires you to step out of your comfort zone, to take a deep look at yourself and admit what you need to work on. It humbles you, it challenges you, and it also frees you. Doing this work will take you on a roller coaster of emotions, the highest highs and the lowest lows. And when I'm at a low point, I first let myself feel all the feelings: sadness, disappointment, frustration, etc. And then I remind myself, I won't feel this way forever. I get to learn the lesson. I get to choose growth, and I get to start climbing back up. And when you make that choice to get back up, to keep climbing, you climb higher each time. And you feel that freedom of stepping more into her. And I want to say it again, there are so many modalities and tools in the self-development world. There's no best option, but there is what works best for you. And you get to discover that. So let yourself try them out. Let yourself have fun with it. Be open to new things, new experiences. Schedule a Reiki session, or try meditating or journaling, or attend a breathwork or sound healing session. There are so many options, so many more that I've talked about today. You have so much opportunity to start connecting more with your true self. And all it takes is one small step to get started. I have found HypnoBreathwork to be the most powerful tool for me. And that is why I became a certified HypnoBreathwork facilitator, because I wanted to be able to go deeper with my one-on-one clients, to be able to help them access their subconscious minds and identify what is the subconscious block that is holding them back. And selfishly, I wanted that for myself too. So if you are ready to do the work, if you are ready to go all in and reclaim your power, click on the link in the show notes and schedule a discovery call with me today. Hiring my first life coach was my first big leap. It was my first declaration that I not only knew I was meant for more, but that I was finally ready to start taking action towards it. If you're ready to take that leap, I'd love to support you and guide you to your answers and the life you are meant for. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode and allowing me to share with you some of my most profound experiences on my journey of healing and self discovery. If nothing else, I hope that this episode has inspired you to step out of your comfort zone and try something new, and hopefully feel more connection to her, your highest self. And just a reminder, you can access my free journal prompts in the show notes. Maybe that's the next small step you've been waiting for. I hope it is, and I hope you take it because I believe in you and your ability to take action to become her. If this episode resonated with you, I would appreciate it so much if you could rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast and share it with someone you love and believe in. That is how this podcast will reach the women who need it and who are meant for so much more. And I would love to hear from you on what came up for you. I absolutely love reading your reflections and just connecting with you. You can DM me on Instagram at Laura Kistner Coaching or leave a comment in the show notes. And if you are ready to take that leap and start going within to discover your highest self, click on the link in the show notes and schedule your discovery call today. I believe in you and can't wait to see you on the next episode.